Now, welcome back. And port scanners, then, we said we would pick up, can also be used to conduct a ping sweep of a large network to identify which IP addresses belong to an active host. So in other words, to find out where the hosts are live, ping sweeps simply ping a range of IP addresses and see what types of responses are returned. The problem is that the computer might be shut down at the time of the sweep, so you might not get the response you anticipate when. So this could be conducted several times, right, and compared. Another problem: network administrators may configure nodes to not respond to an ICMP echo request. That's that type 8 request. To respond to it with an ICMP echo reply type 0, right? And also we can add the possibility of a firewall filtering out ICMP traffic. It's another way to do that. Now there's also fping. The fping tool pings multiple IP addresses simultaneously. So you might want to go to, up to you, fping.org, right? It's generally considered an unsecure site, so make sure if you do choose to go there on your own that you have your own safeguards set up in your computer. Now, fping is a program to send ICMP echo probes to network hosts, similar to a ping, but it's much better performing when pinging multiple hosts. fping has a very long history, right? It's been around probably 2 decades now. And it's established itself as a standard tool for network diagnostics and statistics, fping. So to ping sweep a range of IP addresses, you might use this sort of coding, right? In fping, you'd do a -G, and you'd have the beginning IP address and the ending IP address. And the -G parameter is used when no input is available. Just a little tidbit. You can find more on that in the book. Now, there's also hping. So a ping sweep, as you know, is a technique used to identify the hosts that are live on the network by using their IP addresses, right? And so, for example, if the network with the IP address 192.10.0.0/24, then it's very simple to identify the total number of hosts there by ping sweeping that network, right? And recall in our week 1 discussion of how the IP address is divided up then into the network ID and the host ID based on the /24 enumeration. And so here's a picture of the results that will show the hosts that are available. Okay. Now, a broadcast address, though, be very careful if you're a security tester doing this in a private company or elsewhere. A broadcast address is an IP address that is used to target all systems on a subnet, right? Again, refer back to week 1 where we talked about the subnet mask. So it's going to target all the systems on a specific subnet of the network instead of a single host. So in other words, broadcast addresses allow information to be sent to all machines in this given subnet rather than to a specific machine. So for example, if you decide to use ping sweeps, be careful not to include the broadcast address in the IP address range, because including it by mistake might happen if you if the submitting organization address is used that is close to it, right? And what can happen is an inordinate amount of traffic can flood a network because of the broadcast address is included. So say you used a 193.145.85.63 and 193.145.85.127, etc., right? The 193.145.85.127 is part of that broadcast address, right? Any 127 is. And make sure your client signs off a written agreement authorizing the test before you use the broadcast domain, the broadcast address. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Crafting packets is in the next topic as we get to the end this for chapter 5. Packets contain, as we've seen in previous lectures, source and destination IP address, flag information, the sequence number, etc. Now you can create a packet with a specific flag, as we've talked. The SYN flag we looked at earlier might have returned a closed port message, but a FIN packet sent to the same computer might return a filtered port message, right? And so we can craft any type of packet we like at that point. Crafting an IP packet to find out what services are running on the network so is very useful then. If a computer doesn't respond to an ICMP packet sent to the port, it doesn't mean that any packet sent to the port will get the same response. You might need to send various packets, just to be aware. Now, scripting also is important. Some tools might need to be modified to better suit your needs as a security tester. So creating a customized script, a program that, customized script is a program that automates tasks in the command line, right? So these are tasks that take too much time to perform manually. And so scripts are time-saving solutions, right? fping, for example, we talked about, can use an input file to perform ping sweeps, right? And so we rely on basic programming skills to write script for creating an input file. So a script or a batch file then is this text file containing multiple commands that usually are entered manually at the command prompt. And so if you see that you're using a set of commands repeatedly to perform the same task, this task then becomes a good candidate for a script or a batch file. There is a chapter on programming. We don't cover it in this course because it should be looked at much more in depth. And I'm unfamiliar with the experience level of the individuals, which can vary. Okay, but be aware of it that's a script. These are scripting or batch file capabilities that the hacker can also use. So many hacking tools are written in a scripting language like VBS script or JavaScript, etc. Right? And as I mentioned, batch programming is this programming paradigm where we can execute these certain commands automatically at a level of the operating system, such as DOS or Windows 7 or Windows XP. Now, a batch file really then is just a stack of commands. And if it is retrieved with the command line, the system will execute each task listed in succession. So, as I said, batch files are often used to help load up programs, right? They're very useful to run multiple processes at a time, to perform common or repetitive tasks that you don't want to keep doing manually. So, for example, a batch job could be used to back up files. That's a repetitive task. To process log files, to run a series of calculations or diagnostics, right, instead of continuing to load the command, or any other job that requires multiple commands to run. So a bat file is a DOS batch file, again used to execute commands with the Windows command prompt, and that's really command.exe. And the danger, though, which is really what I'm trying to get to, is that the bat file contains a series of command lines that will run if opened, which makes it a good option for malicious programmers, just to be aware. Okay, this are some scripting basics. You'll also find that in the lesson covered nicely. And that's it for this chapter. Thank you for your time. I'll see you online.